In the gentle heart of the old American countryside, where wild meadows rolled into distant hills and rivers glimmered like ribbons of silver, there stood a magnificent oak tree. It was a giant among the living, the tallest and oldest thing for miles around. Its presence was a constant, a landmark that farmers, with their plows, would glance toward, a silent sentry marking the passage of seasons. Travelers on dusty roads saw it as a welcome sign of rest and shade, a temporary sanctuary from the sun's relentless heat. Even the children from the nearby village saw it not as a simple tree, but as a castle tower, its giant trunk a staircase to a kingdom in the sky. They would clamber up its rough bark, their laughter echoing through its leaves, to sit on its strong branches and live out their grandest fantasies. The oak had stood for so many centuries that its existence felt eternal, a living piece of the earth's history. The oak had witnessed the passing of centuries, enduring the sun's relentless blaze and the storm's fierce fury. Its bark was a chronicle of time, thick and scarred with the marks of lightning strikes, blights, and the passage of countless hands. Yet its branches stretched wide, a sprawling home to countless nests, hollows, and creatures. The oak, in its ancient wisdom and immense form, knew itself to be mighty and often swelled with a proud sense of its own strength. It was the protector of the valley, a silent king ruling over the lesser flora and fauna. It felt the deep anchoring grip of its roots in the earth, a foundation so secure it believed nothing could ever shake it. It was a monument to unyielding power, a symbol of permanence in a world of constant change. One crisp spring morning, when the air was soft with the perfume of blossoms and the meadow hummed with the busy life of bees, a small sparrow, a mere wisp of life, fluttered down from the vast sky. She was a simple creature, her feathers a humble mix of brown and grey, and she landed with the delicate lightness on one of the oak's lowest branches. It was a touch so slight it was almost imperceptible to the massive tree, but the oak was a being of profound awareness. It felt the shift, the faint pressure on its limb. The oak, a slumbering titan, stirred at the faint touch. Its leaves rustled in a low, rumbling chuckle, and from its depths a voice boomed, deep and resonant, a sound born of earth and ages. Who comes to rest upon me? I am a tree for hawks and eagles, for birds of grandeur. Yet here sits a tiny sparrow, light as a whisper. Tell me, little one, why do you choose me for your perch? The voice was not unkind, but it carried the weight of its own pride, a subtle condescension that the sparrow in her wisdom did not miss. The sparrow, her tiny body a testament to life's delicate persistence, tilted her head with a polite grace. Her voice, though small, was as clear and bright as a dewdrop. I have flown far, great oak, and I seek a safe place to rest. I have watched you from the sky, and I admire your strength. You stand tall against every season, and I wish to learn how to endure as you do. She spoke with no hint of flattery, only genuine admiration for the tree's ancient power. The oak's laughter was a deeper, more rumbling sound this time, a tremor that shook its leaves. My strength comes from my size and my age, little one. My roots are a fortress, gripping the earth so deeply that no storm can topple me. You are far too small to understand such things. A mere gust of wind could toss you across the meadow like a fallen leaf. He was a king explaining the nature of his kingdom to a peasant, a giant condescending to a speck of dust. But the sparrow did not wilt under his words. She answered gently, her voice steady and full of quiet conviction. Perhaps I am small, but even the smallest creature may endure in ways the mighty cannot. My kind survives not by standing firm, but by moving with the world. If you allow it, I will stay, and perhaps in time we will both learn from each other. It was a bold proposition, a challenge to the oak's very definition of strength. The oak, in its centuries of existence, had never encountered such a paradox. Amused by the sparrow's quiet defiance and intrigued by her unique perspective, the oak agreed. And so the sparrow, with her tiny determination, built her nest in a hollow near the oak's giant trunk. It was a simple home, woven from grass and twigs, a contrast to the oak's vast, complex structure. The seasons turned, a graceful dance of life and color. The sparrow lived happily within the oak's protective shelter. Each day, she would flutter across the sun-drenched meadow to gather seeds, her small flights a testament to her freedom and self-sufficiency. She would return with cheerful songs that seemed to stitch sunlight into the very air, her joy a melody that puzzled the oak. The great tree, in its silent, watchful way, observed her, a creature of such small means finding so much happiness. Through the vibrant green of spring and summer, into the fiery reds and golds of autumn, the land underwent its cyclical transformation. The sparrow, a creature of adaptability, bent with the seasons, welcoming warmth, enduring cold, and yielding to rain. She took only what she needed, never more, her life a perfect balance with the world around her, a minimalist philosophy in action. Winter arrived, a blanket of snow, heavy and cold, settling over the valley. The oak groaned under its weight, a sound like a ship's timber groaning at sea, but it stood unmoved, a testament to its unyielding nature. The sparrow, a tiny speck of life against the white expanse, huddled deep within her nest, small yet safe, her soft songs a whisper to herself, a gentle defiance against the loneliness of the long dark nights. The oak, with its ancient understanding, marveled at her spirit. How strange! It thought that something so small could find happiness and resilience in the harshest of days, not by fighting, but by huddling, by waiting, by simply being. The sparrow's strength was not in her size but in her spirit, a boundless internal light. The following summer, a storm unlike any seen before began to gather on the horizon. It was an apocalyptic spectacle, a storm of legends. At first, it was only a smudge of grey, a bruise on the distant sky. But as evening drew near, the bruise spread, turning the sky a deep, ominous black. The wind, a premonition of the storm's fury, rose with a wild, keening howl, a sound that carried the dread of what was to come. The oak, with its centuries of experience, sensed the storm's immense power. It called to the sparrow, its voice a low rumble against the rising wind. "Stay close, little one. Tonight you will see what true strength looks like. Watch how I resist the fury of the skies." The sparrow, a small bundle of instinct and wisdom, tucked herself into her hollow, pressing her feathers tight, ready to face what was to come. She did not boast of her survival, for she understood that to survive was to simply exist. Then the storm struck. The wind screamed through the valley, a monstrous sound that tore at fields and fences, ripping at the very fabric of the landscape. Rain lashed down in angry torrents, a deluge from the heavens. Thunder cracked overhead. A deafening drumbeat of the gods and lightning like a jagged fiery finger split the darkness, striking earth and tree alike. The oak, a defiant warrior, stood tall, its roots gripping the earth with an iron resolve, fighting the storm with every ounce of its immense might. Its branches bent and strained, a symphony of creaking wood against the relentless wind. Yet the wind was a merciless foe. It tore at the branches, a relentless assault, until one by one, great limbs cracked with a sound like a breaking bone and fell with a thunderous crash to the ground. Still, the oak, a wounded but unbowed king, roared in defiance. "I will not fall. I am the strongest tree in this valley." But even as the words left its silent leaves, a bolt of lightning, a fierce spear of pure light, struck its crown. The great tree, a testament to unyielding strength, was hit directly. Flame burst across its top branches, a crown of fire, before the torrential rain smothered it, leaving behind a smoking, raw wound. The oak shuddered in pain, its proud, ancient form scarred forever. It had fought with all its might, and in its victory, it had lost. Meanwhile, the sparrow, a master of a different kind of strength, bent and yielded to the storm. The wind tossed her small frame, a leaf in a tempest, but she tucked low into her hollow, never fighting what she could not resist. Where the oak stood firm and broke, the sparrow bowed and endured, her small body a perfect testament to the power of yielding. Her survival was not a matter of defiance, but a matter of acceptance. She did not rage against the storm, she simply let it pass over her. At last, when the pale light of dawn broke, the storm had passed, leaving a valley in ruin, crops flattened, fences torn, small trees uprooted, and the land a testament to the storm's fury. The oak still stood, a testament to its strength, but it was no longer the proud giant it once had been. Its crown was broken, its branches fewer, its body marked with the deep, painful scars of battle. The sparrow emerged into the quiet morning light, a survivor, and looked up at the weary, wounded oak. "You see, little sparrow," the oak said, its voice heavy with sorrow and exhaustion, "I have endured the storm, but I am not as I once was. My strength is wounded, my crown forever gone." Its voice was a mere whisper of its former boom, a ghost of its old pride. The sparrow hopped closer, her eyes dark and kind, reflecting the morning light. "You endured, yes, but so did I. You stood firm and I bent. Both ways survived, but remember this, sometimes it is not the tallest who endures, but the one who yields when they must. True strength is not only in standing proud but in knowing when to bow. The sparrow's words were a simple truth, a profound lesson that the oak, in its long life, had never understood. The oak was silent, a vast, quiet presence contemplating the sparrow's small, profound truth. It felt a change within itself, a softening, a new understanding of the world. It had spent its life believing that strength was a matter of size and unyielding resistance. Now, it understood that true strength lay in resilience, in the ability to bend without breaking, to adapt and endure. At last, with a sigh that rippled through its remaining leaves, it said, "Little one, I was foolish to think only size and might mattered. You, small as you are, have taught me wisdom greater than centuries of storms." From that day forward, the oak never mocked the small again. It listened to the voices of sparrows, squirrels, and bees with the same respect it once reserved for the thunder and the wind. It became a different kind of king, a humble ruler who understood the wisdom of his subjects. Years passed, a slow, steady procession of seasons. The oak, though scarred, still offered its shade and shelter. Children still played at its roots, but they noticed it was different now, gentler, quieter, as if it carried a profound secret within its ancient heart. And whenever they saw the sparrow darting among its branches, they smiled, for the two seemed forever bound together, the great and the small, each strong in their own way. And though the oak would never regain its lost crown, it gained something greater: humility, friendship, and a lesson it carried until its last day, that even the smallest can teach the mighty. And true strength lies not only in standing firm but in knowing how to bend.